Yo, what's going on, guys? And we're hearing specifically that the Kings have no interest in trading Keegan Murray, which I've been saying for a while now. It just makes too much sense. They believe he has more potential than Lowry Markkanen, and or had to be better than Lowry Markkanen would be the right way to say that. And with that being said, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Would you consider trading Keegan Murray? I wouldn't, and I agree. Like, he's a really good basketball player, and he's been efficient for them. So this is what we're hearing specifically from Zach Lowe of ESPN. Sacramento Kings have shown zero interest in discussing Keegan Murray in the trade scenario. Sources tell Zach Lowe of ESPN. Murray's averaging 19.2 points on 53% shooting from the floor, 45% on three-pointers over the past month. Murray's only in the second year of his rookie deal, giving the Kings an affordable cornerstone with considerable remaining upside. Murray is also versatility at his being able to play the 4, the 3, and even maybe being a small ball 5 if needed. He was 4th overall a year ago. There's no reason for them to want to trade him because he's been solid for them. So for me, it just doesn't make sense, and I'm in the camp that they're not going to do anything, because why would they? They don't need to. No, like, unless like Kevin Durant became available, which he's not. I don't even know if they would do it then. What do you guys think? I think it's definitely an interesting story, and yeah, I want to hear your guys' opinions in the comment section. That's basically going to be it. The rest of this video is going to be the reporting we've done previously on the Sacramento Kings. So we're hearing why the Kings pulled out of the trade talks with the Raptors for Pascal Siakam. Allegedly, it was due to the fact that the Kings were unwilling to pay Pascal Siakam a max contract. Basically, if Pascal were to get traded, the teams that were interested in trading for Pascal wanted confirmation that Pascal would resign. I'm assuming that Pascal's team told the Kings what he wanted, and they were like, nah. And the Raptors were probably asking for Keegan Murray, and I have told you guys, Keegan Murray's untouchable. Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, and maybe even Malik Monk are untouchable. So the Sacramento Kings are not interested in trading Keegan Murray in any potential deal, even for Pascal Siakam. Sources told Michael Grange of Sportsnet, which is a Canadian company. The Kings reportedly pulled out of trade talks with the Raptors on Friday, according to Shams Charania. Sources added that the Kings are also not interested in signing Pascal Siakam to a full max contract. Pascal Siakam is said to prefer playing out his contract and becoming a free agent if not offered the max by either the Raptors or verbally agreeing to a potential trade team to a max. So basically, if he's traded, he can only sign a 2-year extension before June 30th. But if he gets traded to a team and verbally agrees to re-sign with them, he would go into free agency unrestricted and then, sign a max 4-year deal. Now, we do know the Kings are gauging the trade value of Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and Davion Mitchell. And the rest of this video will be those trade rumors being addressed. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think of all this trade information? And what's your expectation for a team like the Sacramento Kings? And what are they going to do with their season, as they could be contenders if they make the right moves? Let's start off with the Sacramento Kings. They're evaluating the trade value of Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and Davion Mitchell, to be specific. This is coming from Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports. So the Sacramento Kings are calling opposing front offices to determine the trade value of Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, and Kevin Huerter. Collectively, those guys do equate to $37 million, which is Pascal Siakam's trade value, which I did tell you guys that if there was a Pascal Siakam deal, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, and Davion Mitchell would be the package with picks. The Kings have made it known that Keegan Murray is untouchable, as he would not be moved in a package for Pascal Siakam. The Kings did recently promote Chris Duarte to the starting lineup in place of Kevin Huerter. Barnes signed a 3-year, $54 million extension with the Kings last June, and Kevin Huerter is in the, I believe now, the second year of a I believe the second year of a extension he had signed with the Hawks. That is relatively cheap. So it'll be interesting to see how this all turns out and what's going to be the exact, I guess you would say, modus operandum that this team operates with. But let me hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys expect from the Kings? And let's get into the rest of the reporting I've done regarding the Kings right here. Let me hear your thoughts on the rest of this video.
Pascal Siakam trade talk between the Toronto Raptors and the Sacramento Kings is over. Let me repeat that. The Sacramento Kings and the Toronto Raptors are pulling out of trade talks for Pascal Siakam. According to Shams Charania, they were deep into trade talks, and now they're going to pull out. Everything is fluid. And the Sacramento Kings are deciding to pull out of the Pascal Siakam trade talks. Sources says things can be fluid, but the Kings-Raptors talks are now over. And we knew the package was surrounding Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and Davion Mitchell. Now it seems like probably draft pick compensation is what was the holdover for this. I want to hear you guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Attached is the video we made earlier discussing what a Sacramento trade could look like and what a Pascal Siakam trade to any of the other destinations that we've heard could look like. Let me hear your thoughts down below. Shams Charania just put out a report saying that the Pascal Siakam trade talks are ramping up. The Sacramento Kings and the Toronto Raptors are ramping up, are engaged in serious trade talks. Now, we know that the Hawks, Pacers, and Pistons are the other couple of teams that are interested in Pascal Siakam, but I do believe the Kings are the team that is most likely to go after Pascal Siakam because we've heard that the Kings are shopping Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and Davion Mitchell. Guess what Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, and Kevin Huerter equate to? Yes, sir. They equate to $37 million, the exact amount of money that they need to get Pascal Siakam. As you guys see, I say a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and those three players would be enough because at the end of the day, Kevin Huerter is a great long-term asset. Even though they have Grady Dick, Kevin Huerter can mentor Grady Dick until Grady Dick's ready to take over. And then you can flip Kevin Huerter down the road. Harrison Barnes, he'll be a mentor. But both of those guys fit very well next to Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and make this team like this floor-spacing, little lanky team that I think they want to be. And I do believe that it's a good opportunity for them. And for me, I think this is going to be a team that if the Kings do this trade, Kevin Huerter, Davion Mitchell, and Harrison Barnes, they give up a guy. Harrison Barnes, I think they were ready to move on. They gave him the extension so they wouldn't lose him for nothing. And now they're able to flip him for something. Kevin Huerter is a guy who he's just having a down year, but he's useful and he's on a cheap deal. While Davion Mitchell is still on his rookie deal, but he was a lottery guy who hasn't really achieved his potential. He's basically a defensive pass first, undersized combo guard that plays the two, and they don't have to give him up compensation for Pascal. And if they trade for Pascal, he's going to test free agency, but they're assuming that they get a verbal commitment from him to re-sign in free agency because they can only offer him the 2-year max before June 30th. But if they let him test free agency and he comes back, they'll have his bird rights, and they can give him the contract that he wants. And they want to have a big three of De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, and Pascal Siakam. My assumption is their backup plan is Kyle Kuzma, but I think Kyle Kuzma might actually be more expensive in a weird way than Pascal Siakam because of the contract situation. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys expect? Because for me, this whole situation, I think the Kings are about to get Pascal Siakam for a pretty decent price, cheaper than what he would have gone for a year ago, while the Raptors are going to continue to get more wings, and I think they're going to turn into this very lanky two-way heavy wing team that I'm very interested to see how it looks once it's put together. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. And the rest of this video is going to be what I've reported in the past. Okay? Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we want to talk about Pascal Siakam, who is expected to be traded now that OG Anunoby has been traded. I'm laying here on the beach with my girlfriend, so we're going to probably do this a little quick because I can tell she might not be the biggest fan of me making these videos on the beach. But let's get right into this, talk about Pascal Siakam, who's expected to be traded. Now the teams that are interested in Pascal Siakam are the Atlanta Hawks, the Sacramento Kings, and the Indiana Pacers. So the report originally came from Adrian Wojnarowski that the Toronto Raptors will continue to explore trades involving Pascal Siakam. Sources tell ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. No talks, however, have gained any traction with Siakam at this point. The Raptors traded OG Anunoby to the New York Knicks for RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley on Saturday. Both Siakam and Anunoby were or are eligible for free agency in 2024. The Atlanta Hawks and the Indiana Pacers and Sacramento Kings have been previously linked to Siakam. Now that the Raptors swung the trade, moving on from OG, Precious Achiuwa, Malachi Flynn, bringing in the native RJ Barrett, my old neighbor, Emmanuel Quickley, and a second-round pick, people believe that Siakam is going to be traded. He was nearly traded to the Atlanta Hawks for a deal that centered around DeAndre Hunter, and I believe it was DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and I want to say Bogdan Bogdanovic, but I don't think Bogdan's involved in the deal, and I believe because they traded for RJ Barrett, I don't know if they want DeAndre Hunter. Maybe they do. I want to hear your thoughts if you're a Raptors fan. What is your expectations at this point for a Siakam deal? What do you think is correct compensation? Now, the Hawks are still expected to be interested, as well as the Pacers and Sacramento Kings. Again, a Hawks deal would have to be probably a 3-team deal because they would have to send a combination of DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella and or Bogdan. At least two of those dudes would have to either go to the Raptors or to another team that would send assets to the Raptors, basically. So that's what the Hawks are giving up. They have AJ Griffin, Kobe Buffkin, a few other young guys that there could be interest in. Now, the next one is the Sacramento Kings. A deal from them would probably center around Davion Mitchell, maybe Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, and any other young guys that the Kings would be willing to move on from. I think the untouchables are Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, and Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. I think everybody else would be tradable. Pacers, I could see the deal being a bit easier to expedite. Now it's 37.9. I don't know. I feel like for the Kings, it's the easiest because they have a lot of like interchangeable salaries. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for, Pascal Siakam being moved. I wonder what the actual going rate. There's a second round pick that just went for our man. And yeah, for me, I think if a second round pick is what OG went for, and he was a guy who was getting offers to go for 2 second round picks last year. I mean, 2 first round picks. And now he just went for 1 second. How much has Siakam's value depreciated is the question I'm wondering. If you're a fan of Pascal Siakam, which I assume if you're watching this video, you probably are, either because you're a Raptors fan or because you're a fan of the Hawks, Kings. Does anybody here just straight up a Pascal Siakam fan? I don't know if anybody is. Do those exist? But let's hear the rest that I've reported on.
Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're hearing from Shams Charania that a few teams are interested in Pascal Siakam. So as we get closer to the trade deadline, the Toronto Raptors and the Chicago Bulls are allegedly the 2 teams to keep an eye on, to keep tabs on as sellers. And Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have stuck with their talented core, Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby for the last 3 years. But they've lost 3 games in a row. They're 9-13. And teams believe more than ever that Pascal Siakam or Anunoby, or both of them, will be traded by February 8th deadline. Scotty Barnes is off limits. So under new coach Darko Rajakovic, the Raptors have hoped for a more team-first, free-flowing offensive style that would lead to success. And there's a strong belief that Barnes, Siakam, and Anunoby across every level of the organization. And there's a confidence in the new style of play would lead to more success and victories. And the thing with that is that it has to be a selfless style of play. And teams such as the Hawks, Kings, and Pacers are expected to be suitors for either Siakam or Anunoby, but believe Siakam's all three teams rather have Siakam, but if they can't get Siakam, they're fine with OG Anunoby. Both Siakam and OG Anunoby are on expiring. Siakam's 29. He's makes 37.9 and he expects to get a max or a near max contract. Anunoby's 26 and he has a player option for 19.9 and he's expected to decline it, and there's rumors that he's going to get a 2-year max. So Siakam's expected to get near close or a full max, like 4 or 5 year deal, while Anunoby might get like a 2-year $70 million deal, they're saying. And the Hawks held intense conversations with the Raptors surrounding a Siakam deal, which I believe was DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and Bogdan Bogdanovic, the package. But the Pacers and Kings have kind of had like exploratory conversations. While the Kings had a better start last year, they're 12-8 this year compared to 11-9 last year. So they're a good team. So I kind of phrase that weird. They had a better start this year than last year, which is weird. So Siakam's kind of OG Anunoby's a better fit for the Kings. Siakam's a perfect fit for the Hawks and Pacers. The one thing I think OG became with Jalen Johnson's assertion, I think they kind of want OG now. So a season ago, the Raptors elected to play through and try to campaign and forge, a playoff team, but they ultimately lost Fred VanVleet to nothing. And the thing is that going to happen again? So there's a big belief that they've got to make a move there, because right now they don't have anything to show for it if he just leaves. Pascal Siakam has been in discussions with the Atlanta Hawks, and the deal is that Atlanta's discussing with Pascal Siakam's agent and trying to figure out how willing would he be to sign an extension if the deal goes through. So basically the whole hiccup on the Pascal Siakam deal right now is that the Hawks and Raptors, according to Michael Grange of Sportsnet, they have discussed various permutations of a trade framework for Pascal Siakam this summer, and with things advancing enough right now that Atlanta has contacted Pascal Siakam's agent to measure how open Pascal Siakam would be to sign an extension with Atlanta if the deal goes through. The next report we're hearing specifically is that there is according to league sources, there is expected to be a fairly robust market for the Raptors veterans, though maybe not the slam dunk of a return that makes the deal a no-brainer. The Raptors under President and General Masai Ujiri aren't known for selling low. So the deal we knew that almost went through during this offseason was a deal of Pascal Siakam for DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, AJ Griffin, and I believe 1 first-round pick. They wanted Kobe Buffkin in the deal. The Hawks said no. Now, Bogdan's playing amazing this year. Okay, like amazing. He's been huge for them. Kobe Buffkin's been in the G. So, my question is, what would you give up if you were the Atlanta Hawks if we knew the deal that they were cool with was DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and Bogdan Bogdanovic, 1 first-round pick, and Kobe Buffkin on draft night, or which would now I guess would be 2 first-round picks, AJ Griffin, Bogdan, DeAndre Hunter, but I don't want to give up Bogdan because I think he's playing too good. What would you do? So I get the idea of DeJounte Murray being involved in this deal, but let me come at you with this. Clint Capella, 3-team deal. Clint Capella and DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin. You send DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin to the Raptors. You're like, okay, Clint Capella can't be going to the Raptors because they have Jakob Poeltl. So I go, yeah, you know what team needs a center because their center's out for season? The Memphis Grizzlies. They've been saying that they want to trade Luke Kennard and John Conchar. So you package Luke Kennard, John Conchar to the Raptors. So the Raptors get DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, Luke Kennard, and John Conchar, 4 players, 1 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. They send Pascal Siakam to the Hawks. Hawks get Pascal. They give up Mr. Clint Capella. DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin, and they get back Pascal, they'll give up 1 first-round pick in 2 seconds, and then they send Clint Capella to the Hawks, and the Hawks can send Luke Kennard and John Conchard going to the Grizzlies. He's going to the Grizzlies because they don't have a center because Steven Adams is. And then what? You're getting 4 players, a first-round pick in 2 seconds, okay, with 2 of those players being starter caliber, 2 being good role players, all right? I really don't think it's that bad of a trade.